reminder. Let
Very
me just punch this in.
Let me get mine ready too. Kind of slacking here today, guys.
It's a Friday. Give us some
It
slack. Everyone chill.
is.
All right. I'm good to go when you're good to go.
Dokie, I just want to get Fred to come up and test his out as well. Oh, there
I
he
hear you
is.
now. Can you hear me?
Yay! Perfect.
Yep.
Great. I did change my settings for my speaker. I guess I haven't done that yet, so
Okay.
yeah, we're good.
Awesome. All right then, Cam. After you.
Cool. Thank you guys for hopping in. I wanted to give a live demo and a little bit of a walkthrough of one of these clone tools and clone converters that Beb and I have been working on for some time. It's something that I'm super excited about because it helps me in my workflows a lot. Like it's just a super small feature, but super helpful. And it's specifically to help work with the facial blend shapes on the clone face, which some of you have probably tried to work with the face, some of you might not have, but the clone models have these shape keys on them on the face that let you basically manipulate the expressions on the face. They let you blend between different values to create the expressions. So those have been traditionally hard to work with because they've been split all into different traits. So you would change the values for one trait and then have to change the values for the other trait to match that. So basically at a high level, what we've done is create a simpler way to work with all those traits. We've created some features on the back end that give you the ability to merge them, so you're only just working with one set of sliders. So what I wanted to do really quickly is just walk through adding these plugins once again, and then just show you how they work. So let me share my screen. We'll just start from scratch. I know Blender is still foreign to me as well, so even things like adding plugins is still kind of new. So I'll walk through adding the plugins. If you guys haven't had a chance to download them, I can drop a link in the chat really quickly as I pull this up. Let me just share my screen. But there are two plugins. One is the update to Clone Converter, and one is the update to Clone Tools. You'll need them both. The update to Clone Tools basically prepares your clone 3D model or 3D traits to be used with this new clone converter feature. So I'll drop the link to both. Oh, never mind. Links are not allowed in the chat. Never mind. So if you want the updates, just go to the Artifact Creator website, and then in the build section there'll be a link to a Dropbox that has Clone Tools 2.1 and Clone Converter 1.1. So grab those if you're trying to follow along and just have your clone files ready.
Hey,
So
Cam,
if you're, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. If anyone wants to like make your shared screen larger, just left click on it with your cursor like once or twice and it'll go to full screen. I just want to make sure everyone knows they don't have to look at a tiny little thumbnail.
That thumbnail window. Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And also, Fred, feel free to jump in whenever you feel like it. And anyone from the audience, if you guys have questions, if you're trying to follow along, also feel free to request up and we can have you and help walk through some of this stuff as we're going through it. But really quickly, I'm going to jump over to Blender and just add the plugins back into Blender. I'm working with Blender 3.6 LTS, which I found is pretty reliable. But to add the plugins in, you're going Edit, Preferences, Add-ons, and then I'm just going to install and find where I put those zip files. You're going to want to keep these zipped when you download them. There's no need to unzip them. So I'll add Clone Tools 2.1 and then make sure, oh, that's there already actually. And then let's just add this in. Okay. I think I might have had them both already installed. But once you have those both added in, you'll find them on this little nav bar on the right that you can open up with that caret that I clicked. We'll start by going to Clone Tools. If you've used Clone Tools before, you're probably familiar with importing your files. You just have to select male or female clone. Beb has made it really nice and simple. Open your Clone 3D files, and then just navigate over to wherever you have that folder of the files that you've downloaded. One thing that I'll recommend to everyone is if it's been a really long time since you've downloaded Clone 3D files, I would recommend re-downloading them, just because I know the team is like always working on updating some of the stuff. So some traits might have blend shapes that they didn't have before. I know for my angry clone face, at first they didn't have blend shapes, but now they do. So if you feel like you're missing blend shapes on certain traits, just go re-download from the website. I'm going to select this location and my clone files should populate. So once you have your clone files brought in, one of the things we were doing behind the scenes to sort of prep the facial meshes to be usable or to be merged is we're just renaming. Let me switch to object mode. We were renaming the shape keys because in the past they had lots of prefixes that you would have to change first to match them with all the other prefixes to join the meshes. So one way to check that this has all imported properly is if you select the head geo, or just select any of these traits that you think would have blend shapes, like the eyelashes, eyebrows. I'll just select the head. If you go to the shape key panel right here, you'll see that everything should be renamed to the standard. This is an ARKit naming convention. It's standardized, something that Apple has standardized for using blend shapes with some of their facial motion capture tracking that they have on their iPhones. So in the background, we've scripted it so that everything with blend shapes will get renamed to this new standardization. So in the past, as I mentioned, it was really hard to work with these blend shapes because if you wanted to manipulate the face, you would be changing these values that you find here. So if I wanted to make my clone blink, I would bring this eye blink left or eye blink right value. I would bring that up, and you can see, let me just switch this over. You'll see that just the head mesh is changing here, not the eyebrows, not the eyelashes. So to just pose the face, you would have to bring this value to something, 0.25. You have to go over, select the eyelashes, bring that down. That would move the eyelashes. And then you'd have to do the same for every little individual trait, which is, it's just a pain to match. So it was always really complicated to sort of work with these facial blend shapes. What we've done to just simplify the whole process now is in the clone converter update, we've just added one simple button that you'll find in this mesh optimization tab. Down here, it's a join blend shape meshes button. So what that does is it'll just simply detect everything that has shape keys, which is usually all these facial meshes, and it'll join them all onto a single mesh. So as I click this, it'll take everything, eyelashes, eyebrows, face, there's an inner mouth trait. Some of your clones, if you have like a mustache or like facial accessories like spiders, those will be detected and also merged onto the head. So after clicking that, everything can be manipulated with one set of blend shapes, which you can find under the rig on this head geo object. So now if you want to change the expressions on the face, you just have to find this head geo object, go to these shape key modifiers, and if I wanted to make my clone blink, I would just have to turn this value up, and everything is moving congruently now. So it's a really small feature update, but it makes the facial expressions much, much easier to work with. And now that there's just one set, we can create like facial expressions through these values, and you guys can share these values. If you have an expression that you like, it's just numerical values that you can pass to one another. We can have a library of expressions based on this one set of values that we work with. So at the top here, there's all these eye blink controls. There's mouth controls like the jaw open. There's things for the smile. there's 52, it's these 52 ARKit blend shape names that let you just mix and match different parts of the different expressions on the face. So it's really fun to play with. And the great thing about going through this conversion process is that it'll prep your clone to be usable in a lot of other third-party like facial motion capture platforms. A lot of the standardization is used on platforms where VRMs are used for like face filters, and if you explore into like Unreal Engine, they have something called Live Link that lets you stream facial motion capture into Unreal Engine. So this standardization makes it easy to use there, and it basically preps your clone and its facial shape keys to be exposed and used easily elsewhere. So this is, not only does it make it easy to use in Blender, it basically sets the stage for us to bring these clones out of Blender, export them, and then use them in all sorts of like VRM platforms or facial motion capture platforms, which we'll begin to explore. I think we'll dig deeper into that in the future with some of these workshops. But for now, we're just keeping it in Blender, and that's the gist of these updates. It's basically the Clone Tools update is behind the scenes, and the Clone Converter update is this join blend shape meshes button. And doing all that, going through that process, basically lets us all work with the facial expressions on the clone much easier. So on that note, unless anyone has questions, now would be the time to come up. But if there are no questions, we'll pass it to Fred, who's going to give us a nice little lesson on just working with expressions and working with blinks. Hold on, looks like Kev has a question. He's asking, what would we do with something like gold grills? When I do jaw open, the grill stays shut. Ooh, so if the gold grills do not have blend shapes, which I would have to go in and check if they do, I think Kevin's asking like if he opens the mouth on the clone and the grills are an object that's not moving, then what options does he have to like sort of hide the grills from sticking out? I think, Fred, do you have any suggestions on what he can do there besides just editing the mesh?
Yeah, I guess. Could you try and attach it somehow to like the teeth that the grills would be on? Like, I don't know how it works in Blender if you can constrain one object to another or attach it to another, and then hopefully that way it would just, or even like attach it to a point on the face like the geo inside. Maybe that would work. I don't know Blender well enough to know if that's possible, but generally there should be a way to do that. If it's called a constraint, a parent constraint, or what else would it be called? Like yeah, I'm drawing a blank on the other terminology for it. But,
we can always find the solution as well, and then we'll message you, Kev. So we'll get it sorted for sure.
Cool. Let's see what else is in this chat. The first part, someone was asking about the updates on the clone tools. Brongis, for the updates on the clone tool, basically on the clone tool plugin, we're just doing some renaming in the background when you import your clone files, and that clone tools update combined with the clone converter update helps merge the facial blend shape meshes together into one. So the only feature that's exposed to you in this update is in Clone Converter. Once you have both updates, once you import your Clone 3D files, you will be able to find this Join Blend Shape Meshes button, which combines all the facial traits with shape keys, so that you just have to find the CloneX head geo after you click this and manipulate these values here to change the entire clone's expressions. That's the gist of the update. And if you have more questions, just DM me, and I'll be more than happy to walk you through it. Cool. Fred, would you like to take over on some screen share and show these people some cool blinking methods and facial expressions? I know you're
Um, yeah, we'll stick it to just eyes and blinking today. Yeah,
perfect.
but we'll keep it nice and simple. I don't want to overload anyone with too much information today, anyway.
Baby steps. All right, let me stop my stream. V is asking which Blender version to use with this update. I would recommend 3.6 LTS long time service. I think it's just a stable version of Blender and it's worked really well for me. So I'd recommend Blender 3.6.
Looks like there's some people. Oh yeah, if you notice, I am now live on video too because my PFP is static, and if I'm doing a demo, I want everyone to see my. Oh wait, actually, can you share? I can share my screen and have be up here as well, can't I?
I
Yeah,
think you
let's
can
test.
have multiple
Yeah.
things going
Okay.
on.
Cool. Let me just check my. Oh, here you go. Screens. I want
The,
to
the,
share
the,
my screen.
the chat loves the X-Wing in the background.
Yeah, I just built that. The UCS. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I'm a bit of a Lego freak too. Okay, so first thing I just wanted to let everyone know is that we're just gonna go over like basically simple blinking eye stuff. I wanted to show you how quickly you can animate your eyes and a blink. It's very straightforward, but like mastering it could take a little bit of effort because it's usually the eyes that everyone looks at. So if you notice the eyes don't look good, it's going to feel a little bit off. And I know with Mixamo and all the animations you guys use, there's no eye data or facial data. I think I could be wrong. So I wanted to give you guys the tools and know how to animate it. Not just to have the eyes move, but to have reason for it to move. So what I wanted to show you as well, and then we're using the new rig, the new clone Geo and the new rig. The rig is a work in progress. We won't be going over everything because I can't, spill the beans on everything. We are just going to talk about, what we've been talking about all week, which is, eyes and the blinking that makes Fred mad. So, uh, and just to be honest, the blinking in Toy Story 1, I mean, it was amazing back in the day. It's just you'll notice there's not a single film out there that have used it since, and all the Toy Story films now don't have that. So it was just something they did to make it different. Um, but to keep your animation appealing and to not distract the viewer, I recommend just sticking with regular blinks. So I won't be able to answer all questions about the new rig as well. I could talk about a little bit here and there. The rig is going to be rebuilt from the ground up, or it's in the process of doing that. We're testing, and what I'm using right now looks different than probably what you're all used to because this is this is actually a video screen, so it's not even Maya. But yeah, I will be using Maya. Your screen is still running. We've paused the preview to save your resources. Oh, that's weird.
I think you're good. It's just saying that you're
Oh,
not going to get the visual of your screen, but we'll see it. I think
oh,
you're good.
okay. I think it's as long as everyone can see my screen because it says stream is still running. But anyways,
Yep,
okay.
we got it.
As long as you can see her, can you see the head's going in and out, in and out? Okay, did
Yep.
that work? Okay, good. As long as you're seeing that, that's all that matters. Um, yeah, so I'll go over a little bit about what the rig will be capable of doing, what to expect in the future. We primarily use Maya in house. Blender, we are going to be working on we're going to be converting this to be used in Blender. I don't know yet how that's going to work. We're hoping that they function similarly, but because of the way rigs work, what I'm going to show you today will translate into any software. So it's all really about like when do you do things, and then how it gets from point A to point B, for example. So I wanted to show you first. I whipped up together a animation yesterday. I think I spent like maybe 15, 20 minutes on this. I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna let it loop, and you can see kind of the subtleties of the animation. Uh, and yeah, so um, you'll notice a few things that are probably different from your regular clone. So you can expect like the quality of the geo to be higher, the functionality of the rig will also be far more tuned and advanced. We're basically pushing. I'm going to try and push the quality of this with the help of course, Mark. Mark's our in-house rigger. Um, he usually is a rigging supervisor. he We're lucky to have him, and I've worked with him quite a lot. So we're looking to build something that is feature quality, but could still be used in like Unreal and different applications. Including like Rococo if you want to use the Rococo suit, for example. So yeah. So this is there's Mark. Hi, Mark. He's another Mark. So yeah. And then the okay, let's just dive right into it then. Before I go in there, I wanted to ask if there are any questions before I begin showing you how I do things like these subtle eye darts, and why I'm blinking uh, like this, for example, like why I'm doing all this. This looks so much better. Oh my god. I should. Well, yeah. I guess if you want to, how does it work? If we ask questions, do I just look at what's on the stage, or should I um, just look for people if they put requests? Uh,
Well, yeah, everyone is welcome to come up to stage and jump up here to ask questions, whoever, if anyone wants to. But otherwise, yeah, feel free to drop questions in the chat
okay.
as we go along. I'll try to keep an eye on the chat and feed you the questions so you don't have to uh,
Okay. Yeah, that's probably better because the
look at
chat's
both.
distracting me because I want to interact with
Right.
everyone.
Right now. Yeah, I'll
So
keep
this.
an eye on the chat. I'll let you know if some questions
Okay.
pop up and
Yeah.
I'll
Thank you.
interrupt you if they do.
Awesome. Okay. Before I dive into the animation, or into my actually, I wanted to talk about a few things. So, um, there are let's see, what time is it? 12:25. Okay, just want to pay attention to the time we have. So, uh, there's a term we use called body dynamics. It's about how the body functions physically. How the arm moves, right? Your elbow can only move one way, right? Stuff like that. The facial dynamics is also a thing where, and we're talking about eyes specifically. So the way eyes function, and I might have done this on some of the Spaces chats earlier, but for eyes they function like, I've studied all this like for decades now, so I wouldn't say I'm an expert, but I think I know a few things. So regarding eyes are always darting, and by darting I mean they act in they would use the word ballistic. So it's like when you shoot a bullet, it doesn't deviate from its path. It leaves one point and will end at another, and nothing will get in the way. So when you're looking around in the room, like, you're not consciously thinking about what you're going to look at. Your eye just starts to focus in and like pop and hold onto things, right? Like, look around the room that you're in right now. If your eyes um, are going to lock on something, you're going to look around, but it will have these moments where it just locks on something, like, there's a book, a shelf, and you don't know that you're doing these things. It's all subconscious, but it's important to know because that's the type of animation we want to see in the eyes. The only time the eyes ever move smoothly is when you're tracking something. So, like, this is why I want to be on camera so I can show you what I'm doing. So if I put my hand in front of me and I track my hand going right to left, my eyes are moving nice and smooth. It's because I'm focused on on my hand. But if I were to remove my hand and try to look right to left, you can't do it like in a smooth manner. You're going to lock on something. It's just the way it is. So These are things to think about when you are animating the eyes. And what else am I gonna say? Oh yeah, and then when you're talking to someone, if you have like a close up, we have. So what I was talking about now was just eye darts. We have also something called micro eye darts, which is what we see in the animation here. Um, like basically, here she looks screen right, and then there's like these little tiny darts here where it's kind of looking in the same direction, but it's a little bit like a movement there, and those are called like eye darts, and or micro darts, and those are just to keep the eyes alive. You don't want to ever hold your eyes too long because then the eyes will go dead. They they won't look alive, which then makes the whole entire animation feel weird. That's why you watch a movie like Beowulf or what's that Christmas Train film like from ages ago. Um, I don't know if anyone knows the movie I'm talking about. It's uh, anyway. Look for that movie with Tom Hanks and the Christmas Train. The eyes are so dead there. It's like it's really disturbing. It's like watching zombies. So try to avoid that. That's why those movies look great and beautiful, but then the eyes are dead and you suddenly just taken out of it. Same thing applies to this stuff here. So we try to keep the eyes always moving, but not all the time. Otherwise, the eyes are going to be going all over the place and crazy, and then that will become distracting. So there's a fine line where, and what I've done here is like basically a quick treatment of a character looking in one direction and then looking in another, subtle movements. And when I animated this, I animated the eyes, the blinking, the brows, and a bit of the mouth. The mouth we're still working on, so but we can kind of play around with that a bit.
I have a quick question. So when you're
Yeah.
animating the eyeballs, are you animating like the rotations on them individually, or are you animating them congruently with like one set, like a parented
So
transform or something?
yeah, there's a couple ways that you can do that. Some rigs accommodate a couple methods for animating, where you can animate the eyes individually. You can also animate like one singular control that moves all the eyes together. Well, all the eyes, too. But then again, if you had like a spider with 8 eyes, yeah, same idea. You have one single control and they would all look. What I would do though, and I had done it for this, and I will do it live, is that we have to be careful about where the eyes look, because if we bring that single control all the way to say one side, it'll look kind of weird when one eye might be buried in the head, and it just won't feel natural. So then that's when we take a secondary control and pull that eye back out so that it's focused again. Because that's the last thing we want is a character to look like just off. We would call it off model. If you lose the eyes like that, it's off model. Um, and yeah, so that's about the darts. And then one other thing too is in the work that you creators do, you have a character and they're looking left, and then they're like physically moving their head right, left, up, down, whatever. When you are animating the eyes, make sure that the eyes are always leading the movement. So by that I mean like I will look in a direction, like basically it's like a micro moment. We would classify it in like 1 or 2 frames of animation. If this is 24 frames per second, the eye might move 1-2 frames ahead of me moving my head, and you can see that in the animation I created here. So she's going to look screen left, and so I have the blink and the eyes moving at the same time. This is another thing that will help too. When you do a big head turn, blink, always blink. It'll help reset the eye positions, and it's just something again we normally do as well as humans. So this is where I blink, see the head goes down and goes left a bit and goes into final position. And so that's what I mean by leading with the eyes. And then you'll notice too, there's a few things that I've done in the blink. So a typical blink, if we were to do, say you're working with 24 frames per second, you're working 60 frames per second, you just double this formula. But vanilla blink is usually, and vanilla I mean just like a very basic blink. You have frame one. Actually, I'll just show you in here because it's pretty close to a standard blink. So your eyes are open. You have the eyes closing a little bit, and then they're fully closed. So that's basically 2 frames. Also, you'll see the position of the eyelids when you blinking. That's also important. See, like these, this is 2 concepts where I'm talking about blinks and eye darting, but there's a lot that's happening. Okay, so what I wanted to go into that is like, okay, in a blink, there's a ratio that you need to also think about. We all will blink mostly with our upper eyelid. So you want to look at a ratio of like 70-30 or 80-20, where the upper eyelid will come down, 70 to 80% of the way down, and then the bottom lid will come up that little bit. So that's why I have here the eyelid will come down a little bit and then fully close. Now, because I'm a perfectionist, and this is more of a feature thing, like when you're close up to a character's face, at least for me, what I'll do is I won't keep the eyes closed perfectly the same over 2 frames. So with the blink we're holding for, we blink or close the eyelids over 2 frames, and then we're going to hold the eyes closed for 2 frames. But what I've done is I have the lids going down just a little bit more. Think of it like a cushion, right? This is something you will feel. You won't see it when I play it. Let me just play this again. It just gives it a bit more of this like squishiness, feeling of organic. And something there's a lot of stuff that goes into animation, especially feature animation. You'll never see it. You'll just feel it. Just like micro, tiny movements and little things that we add to make the performance feel good. When the eyes, so after 2 frames of holding the lids closed, we'll open them up over, maybe 2 to 3 times as many frames as we did to open. So opening it, and we open it slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 7. There we go. And you'll notice too how I open the eyelids. It's very slow, but we still see the pupil, the eyes, and they come up with the eyelids. So the only reason I'm doing this is because the character's eyes are massive, and the last thing we want to do is show just the whites of the eyes, because if you do that, then your character turns into a zombie. But some of you have zombies as some of you, yeah, your PFP is a zombie, so it'll work fine. Then you don't have to worry about the pupil. But we want to avoid showing just the whites of the eyes, because then it just makes you look creepy. Then the other thing that happens too is the brows will also move with the eye lids, but it's very subtle. We don't want to like have them go crazy and have the brows go up and down so much that it's distracting. So it's more of a subtle thing where think about it like tug of war. Like your eyes are closing, right? So it's stretching the skin of your head down a little, and then when you blink, you tend to squint your face. This is a bit more subtle because it's just a casual blink, but the brows will come down a little bit, and then it'll open as well over a number of frames. And what you can see I did here too is as the eyes open, I have this brow, the screen left brow, coming up just a little bit more. So let's see here. I was going for like this sort of idea. This one's a bit higher, and then this is a bit more advanced. But the reason for this is like when we're animating, we like to, in the direction the character's looking at, we want to open up to the camera or to the direction the character's looking at. So this is sort of that shape that you would have. Like this eye is a little bit more open than the right eye, right? This is just again one of those subliminal things that you don't think about. You just feel it, Okay, so that is pretty much all I wanted to talk about here in the video. So I wanted to hop right into the program right now and show you what it's like. Sorry, my wife is gone Christmas shopping and asking me to do a lot of stuff, or asking me this like, should I get this? Should I get that? But I love her for that. So if she listens to this, hi, honey. Okay, this is the facial rig, and this is the animation I created. So you can see all the movements and what is moving based on the controls as they move across the face. So what I'm going to show you is like how the rig is functioning, and this is what we can expect. This is our goal for the Blender version. I mean, ideally, if you work in Maya, that's great because I know Maya fairly well. I've been using it for 15 years now, at least, probably more. Yeah, probably way more. And there's a lot of tools that are made for Maya that are quite useful. And like a library, for example, that we would have. There's still ways of saving and sharing that sort of thing, but we'll save that for another time. I just want to show you some of the things that the face is capable of doing. So I'm just gonna actually let me just set the perspective camera. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let me just also give you a sneak peek of the geo. So you can see here, you know, it's a much cleaner rig, rig model. Our head modeler, he would normally be like a lead or supervising modeler at Sony, where he came from. Where is Jason Irish? I hope he's here. So he redid this character from the ground up. He's used to modeling characters like with Captain Marvel and that sort of thing. His last film was the Marvels, and so we have that sort of expertise going into all these models that we have coming in. The rig, and then the eyes. We had Liviu and Travis are biz tech artists as well. I think they're here too, and they make everything look pretty. So all the stuff you see rendered and shaded to look like it's real, but it's not. That's because of them. And they gave me some eyes because I didn't have any eyes before, and now I have some pretty eyes to look at. So let's see here. I'm gonna show you how the rig works. So we have like these controls, and I'm just gonna kind of do a quick sort of rundown on like how the rig functions, and then I'll show you what I do when I'm animating like eye blinks. So we have like a control here, and what the answer that earlier question, when I have the eyes looking around left to right, I will use this control first. But you see now how the screen right eye is not it's not showing the way it should, right? It's buried inside the head. Doesn't look good. So then I'll go in, I'll take this is a individual control, and I'll pull that back to something like that. And now there's focus, right? It's like, oh, hey, you're looking over there, right? So, and I'll do that pretty much for any eye position, anything to do with eyes in general. They call that term counter animating, but that's fine because we hide. We can sometimes hide certain things with blinks, and if we did a big eye change directional thing, or directional change, sorry, we would add a blink here, and then that's when we would reposition this so that it looks like that character is focused. From another camera angle, it might not look like it's working, but we would do everything to the camera. So yeah, that's another thing to think about. Like when you're doing your shots and creating something, once you have your camera locked down, this would be like a pass you could do like later on. Yeah. So that's the eye. And then we have individual controls for the blinking. So you have these on the screen right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of small. On our character, we have these. These are called channel boxes, and I have a specific control here for blinking, and I'm able to just run that. And this would be your standard blink. I've also asked Mark, and he added this recently, that we have something here called a bias. So that means when I'm blinking, I can change where the eyes are meeting. Now you can see again, this is still being worked on, so the corners aren't staying shut. But the idea is that if I'm looking up, my lower lids are going to be higher. So I want to change that bias then. And then I also use the bias for that extra squishiness, right? So blink, and it comes down a little bit more, and get a bit of that cushioning, right?
So
And
for like a
yeah,
standard, straightforward looking blink, what
yeah,
percentage of the eyelid movement should come from the top and what percentage should come from the bottom, would
yeah,
you say?
it's like 80, 70, 70, 30, 80, 20 is the
30, 80,
ratio. So
20.
70 to 80% upper lid comes down,
Mhm.
and then 20, 30% the lower lid comes up. And sometimes if you don't have this extra blink control, you have to see if the rig has these other finer controls, which in this case, this guy or this girl does. And so we can also work with that too. See, so you can see how this is well, can't remember the exact term for this, like a deformation along a spline. I'm sure Mark's rolling his eyes right now, but the whole idea here, you see how I have one control, but it nicely deforms like the eye, so that if I want the character angry, um, we want the eyelids usually to mimic what the brows would be doing. So here we can get her super angry. Actually, let's bring this down first. Grr. Oh, you see, that's my sound effect. I mentioned this a while ago. I will do stuff like that to get into character, and it's like arr, arr. Now she's a pirate. So you can see here, this is obviously it's not working because of the geo here, but this is why we're still in R&D this rig. So that shows you how the brows are functioning. Oh, actually, I show you too. You'll see too that the head follows the brows. Uh, so they're not coasting over; they're actually moving the whole bit. So like if there's details on the character's skin, which a lot of you will have those details, they will deform nicely with these controls. Um, Further, we got other like unique controls, like if we're chewing bubble gum, we can have the cheeks open. Same with the mouth if we want to get the character to smile right away. Oop, wrong controls. And the other thing is, this is all being done manually and meticulously with each control. The idea is that you do it once and then we save a pose and then you just reuse that pose. So anytime you need to have the character in a certain pose, like a smile or a frown or looking sly, whatever, that pose would be saved. uh, and uh, and yeah, I would show you that, but I can't show my library right now because the library contains top secret stuff that I can't divulge. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm going to now reset the character and just do a simple link live for all of you to see. I'm just right now deleting everything, all the animation. There you go. Okay, so now we have nothing on the character. So I'm just gonna do like a simple, first do like an eye dart. So when I'm laying down keyframes, and another thing I should mention: if you have a graph editor or something like a curve that defines the animation, that will come in super handy because you could also do some like finer like movements there. I know it's a bit daunting and scary at first, but you will get used to it. So I'll just start off. Oh, another thing, never have the eyes move right off the bat at the beginning. Just keep them there for a little bit and then have them move. So I'm gonna keep the eyes here for 7 frames. Now I'm gonna do a 1-frame dart. So we'll go a little bit to the left, screen left. I'm gonna go down a little bit to the right, or I'll just go down first. Hold it here a little bit. Maybe look a little bit more left again, and then I'll do a big change, and I'll look all the way. I'm gonna do this over 2 frames, and then look over here. Actually, do we need? I don't know if we even need to have that move. Let's see here. Yeah, and if I play it, and then so it's as simple as that. The thing is, like, don't be married to your work. Feel free to like shift it around. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to pull up my graph editor. Where are you? Where are you, graph editor? Here we go. So this here is the graph editor. The eye darts that you see, they're very clear. They're represented by these little marks here, this here and this here. So if I wanted to change the timing of these eyes, yeah, really nice and close, I can do it down here too. And I'm hoping you have this in Blender. So like maybe the movements I find are too much. So what I can do here is I'm just going to go in and select these curves here, and so the blink is happening between, or sorry, the eye dart is happening over these frames, right? So in this case, it's just the X translation. So I want to adjust this whole flat line, and I'm just going to move it up, right? Something like that. So now we can look at how, and you'll see here now, this is longer. That means this is going to be a bigger eye dart. So do we want that? I don't know. Let's take a look, right? Kind of works, right? But then you can also adjust it too. It's like, oh, I don't want it to move that much either. So then I'll bring that up. And then we can play it again. Yeah, so that's a really micro eye dart. Very subtle. But if you have a character close up, you want to see stuff like that. And okay, let's just like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the screen right eye. Now I'm going to just close this. So that's why I take this control, and where the moment where I do this, I use the information from the move all control, and all over the same frames move this one in the opposite direction. So frame 56, we'll keep that position, but by frame 58 after the eye dart or the eye direction changes, I'm just gonna pull it out. There you go. You don't even need a blink really to hide that. It's moving less, but it works, right? And then to finish it all, we add that blink. So I'll go in here. I'll have the eye move first. Here we'll blink over 2 frames. I'm just gonna have it close a little bit at the beginning. There you go. Hold this for, you hear that? More sound effects. And then I'm gonna open it over a few frames. There you go. This is basically a very vanilla blink. That's too soft an opening, right? That feels slow, right? So let's speed that up. So I'm just gonna take, in Maya, I can select the keyframe here and just move that all the way to the left to make this faster, right? If we move this post sooner, it should open the eyes quicker. There you go. I also like to keep the eyelids opening just a little bit more over a few frames. Think of it like when a train comes to stop, right? It doesn't stop right away. It'll stop fairly quick, but then coast a little bit at the end and ease to that stop. So this is a term in animation called easing in. So I'm to do this, I'll show you in the graph editor what I'm going to do. So this is these are the values of the blink control. It's nice because we only have one curve to worry about. So here it's in here. It's a train leaving the station, right? Really slow, right? And then it goes really fast. So this is an easing out, and then here we're easing in, and you'll notice that this curve is pretty plain. There's it kind of starts and ends the same way. So I'm able to set some animation keys on this curve, and I'm gonna start it. I have it open like this, and then I'm gonna add another frame a little bit later. See here, and then I'm going to bring this up here, and then you'll see now it's this nice like gradual like coming to a stop, right? And then we want to watch this blink. There you go. How's that feel? So much more natural. Uh, Feels like it should. And then if we need to add the blink to the brows, then I would go in as well and add those here. So let's see here, 1, 2, 3, bring this down. You can rotate it as well. And then I'll just bring it back to where it used to be here. No, stopped too soon. Same idea again. You want to have those ease-ins. Well, that works actually, right? So I'm not going to touch the mouth too much, just because that's a whole other like can of worms. That'll be something I do want to show you all, but not today. I'm sorry. But if there's anything else you want me to show or talk about, yeah, the floor is now yours. Feel free to come up and hang out. In the meantime, I'm
Fred,
gonna have
I
this.
have a question for you.
Sure.
What do you use as your reference? Do you look in the mirror or do you record yourself or do you
Oh,
go
I
for
love
stock?
looking at myself. Actually, it's pretty, it's pretty vain. Animators back in the day, I mean, I still do it. I'll have a mirror and look at myself to see what I'm doing when I'm like lip syncing, for example, or because you can't really look at your eyes. So I'll also record myself. Like when I worked at Sony, I would be doing my video reference and acting reference. I would just have someone record me with a simple iPhone, and we just play the audio dialogue and then act to that. So I actually and then yeah, for reference, I do have some reference here. If you look back to the screen, I shared this earlier on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it now. And you can also study the way his eyes. This is Russell from Up, and you can see how so here he has his eyes moving at the same time. That's fine. It's not like a hard fast rule. And you can see just how the character works. Like look at his brows.
I love that his hair is moving as well.
Oh yeah, it's well, because yeah, some people like me, right? If you look at, I'm a bit of a freak this way. I can move my entire scalp, right? Like it just happens. Some people can do this. So if you blink, it's possible your hair might come down a little bit. um, but yeah, this is like a good source of reference. This is a beautiful piece of animation. Can't remember who did this at Pixar, but I would use this as a form of reference. I also have, let me just see here. This is some of my teaching material that I use, and I have reference here as well. would be a good one. Here's the sweet old man. Oh no, I can't play that one. Boo. It's okay. I just need to use a different software. Open with VLC. So here I'll look at like live action reference, right? So thankfully with YouTube, you can just Google a lot of this stuff. And the nice thing about YouTube, I don't know if everyone knows this, if you use the it's next to the letter M, the was apostrophe and period. Those, or it's like a or the greater than and less than symbols, those like alligator mouths. You can use those two buttons to frame by frame in YouTube. So you'll be able to like view everything frame by frame, and it'll look you can get all the information you need. So yeah, and like also like this is creepy. Is this gonna work? No, it doesn't work again here. This is this software I'm using to view it. It's internal like video player for watching animation. But these are all regular videos. So, but yeah, just look for reference if you can't find what you need. Yeah, so this is for eye darting. It's kind of creepy though. This guy's got like, look at that. That's another thing. When you have your eyes showing all the whites, it makes you look crazy. So don't be careful about that. And then alternatively, if you leave the character's eyes like this, you see that the character will look either drunk or like intoxicated or under the influence of something just not there. So always try to show most of your eyes, like show at least 60% of the eyeball. So yeah, I would look for reference. Sorry, it's a bit of a long-winded answer. I mean, I even have no, that didn't work. I even have like animal blinks are a little bit different too, but this is like again, if you want to do video reference, like really like accurate, blinking. But you'll notice there's all these little things that are happening as the eyes close and open, right? Like the compression that happens, the eyes open up over a bit more, time, and that sort of thing. So yeah, reference is key. Reference is king. And yeah, if you can't find it, just perform it. Or if you don't like to perform, if you have stage fright, ask a friend. Maybe ask me. I might help out. Well, you never know.
This is why it's important to collect friends, because you're
Yeah.
basically collecting references.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. There are moments where I looked at something and it was just so wild and weird, and I'll remember that next time I animate something. I might call back to that memory and like, oh yeah, I remember that walk. It was weird. I'm gonna use that here. Right.
Is
Damn.
is that all we are to you? Fairy references?
Well, I'm not an artist like you guys, so I can't even claim that. But maybe that's what you're doing, Cam. Maybe you just let something slip right now. Are we your references?
No, never. Really quick, I think there was one earlier question from the chat. I think this was more so about the textures on the clone face. Someone was asking whether there is a line above the eye on the clone that when the clone blinks, I can share my screen a little bit.
It's
Sure.
the eyelid.
Oh, maybe I can't share the screen.
Mark.
Yeah,
Oh,
they were
okay.
asking if there were changes going to be made to that texture on the face so that when the clone
Oh,
blinks.
that line. I know the one you're talking about. Oh, I hate that line. Yeah, no, don't worry about that. Everything's being redone, like top to bottom. Like this is not like a remodel. Where like we threw away the old one. We're starting like from scratch. Everything new. Everything
Okay,
shiny and beautiful. Yeah.
perfect. I think that's the reassuring answer that I think it was Gradansky
Yeah.
was looking
So if
for.
I could take that rig, I would gladly kick it down some steps, and then do like a wrestling move, like a flying elbow. Yeah. Any other question? Nightmare line. That likes lines? Oh, yeah, that's a loaded question.
Okay, I think we got it. Looks like there's no other questions. You guys did a fantastic job presenting. I think we should do these more often. If any
I
other
think so
Artifact
too.
team members are listening and want to get involved.
Yeah, it'd be good to know like what you guys are and gals are kind of after. Like animation is one thing, but like when you're working with your assets, you can't buy everything from Turbo Squid or whatever. You might need to model something simple. This is an opportunity maybe for someone like Jason to come up and show his fancy skills. He's worked in everything from TV to features. I mean, I'm pretty sure he worked on Spider Verse. The guy's got some talent. He's here as well to help out, and then equally the other guys. Rigging, texturing. You might need something specific. Our team's very heavy on the skill sets. If you need to texture something, if you need to, you know, tweak that render. I'm not offering their services. They can come up and offer it themselves. But I'm telling you, they have a lot of to offer, and they all have kind hearts, and will. I think if they have the time to spend with all of you, they'll definitely do it.
Yeah, for sure. And our DMs are open all the time. If there's anything you guys want to learn, anything you guys want us to touch up on, and let us know, because we're here to cater to what you're trying to do and what you're trying to create. So please let us know, and we'll get that going. But I
Yeah.
think that's pretty much it. Perfect 1 hour. You guys killed it.
Yeah.
Cam, anything else from you?
No, just thank you to the crowd that showed up. Hopefully, the tools that we were demoing today give you guys the ability to work with the clone now, and hopefully the sneak peeks and the lessons that Fred were giving get you guys excited to start to jump into some of this animation stuff, seeing how much will be possible in the near future. And then last, just thank you, Fred, for giving us this, just being a fountain of information for a straight hour for all of us. I think these spaces are super helpful for all of us,
Yeah.
beginners,
One thing I
myself
wanted,
included.
one thing I wanted to add to, I don't know how it would function in Blender. I have to try and test it, but because you guys have to work with those sliders, I don't know if it's possible, but I'm hoping it is. We'll test it later. Regular in usual animation, we try to save our time as much as possible, and so if we can like animate something once and then reuse it on something else later, we will do that. So if you need to animate one eye like blinking, you could animate both eyes blinking at the same time, but you might be able to just copy and paste that animation from one side to the other, and you'd have the exact same timing, exact same spacing. Everything should work the same. Um, I'm hoping it works that way. It will work that way in our character, and I will show you all the tricks once we have this character fleshed out. We don't know when it'll be ready. It'll be when it's done. Is sort of the what we're going with right now. So, but this is just a taste of what's to come. So if you like this, there's even better stuff coming.
The
So
new Artifact motto: "It's ready when it's ready." And don't you
yeah,
complain about it.
yeah, and we're gonna put it through its steps. Like this is gonna be the Bugatti of rigs out there
Sheesh.
and web. Yeah.
Wow, can't wait. So excited. Love you guys so much. Thank you, everybody, for coming in here and showing support and learning something new. I hope this was really useful to you guys. Fred's knowledge is, extremely valuable. And of course, Cam going through all the efforts that the team have been putting in to make these tools better for you guys, easier for you guys to use. It's actually an honor. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. See ya.
Bye. See you next time.
Bye.